Hi, it's John from Project 7, here to walk you through our P7K9, our K9 Tactical Ballistic Vest. This vest was developed in conjunction with the LA Sheriff's Special Enforcement Bureau K9 unit after two of their dogs were shot in the line of duty. The first one, Jack, was unfortunately killed in the line of duty. The second one, Kilt, was shot in the armor, and we realized there was an opportunity for the improvement of ballistic armor. Not only to make the dogs covered better, but also to allow the dogs to work more effectively. So what we did is we engaged in the normal process we would for any human platform. We started with a list of features and benefits that we wanted to develop and problems that we wanted to solve with existing platforms, and then started extensive in-field testing with a variety of different canine handlers from a variety of different departments, dogs of different sizes with different mission sets, to allow us to get the broadest sample we could and make sure that what we were releasing was going to meet the needs of your canine. Let me walk you through the features and talk about how things were developed. The first thing you'll notice as you look at the top of the vest is that there are two heavy metal D-rings. These rings are designed to give an effective leash attachment point either at the front for a short lead or at the back for a long lead. Between them is a handle. Handles were one of the biggest points of contention in the handlers that we talked to. They were frustrated that the handles on their existing vests were too long, that they got hung up on things, that they couldn't put them away or store them, or that they weren't strong enough to be able to handle or pick up the dog. So what we did is we built a reinforced webbing handle that is bar tacked at both ends, is big enough for a gloved hand to fit through, but can immediately be stored, stuck down with Velcro to make sure that it doesn't catch on brush or other objects as the dog is working. Moving farther down the spine of the vest, you'll notice that there are 4 MOLLE slots. The middle 2 are designed and reinforced with webbing to take the loops of a leg loop harness if the dog is going to be hoisted. The 4 of them work the way any traditional MOLLE would to allow you to attach a tracking beacon or light system or other objects that you might want to attach to your vest. One of the first things you notice when you look at the P7K9 is this yoke system and collar system. This was probably the biggest development point we had for this vest because we wanted to cover the upper thoracic cavity of the dog. One of the things that we've noticed is that dogs that tend to be stabbed on the bite in the upper chest. Same with being shot. When the dog is on the bite, they frequently get shot down into the upper chest. And so we tried to cover as much of that area as we possibly could, basically trying to cover the area between the E-collar or pinch collar all the way back down to the vest. The way we solve that problem is with a removable yoke. The yoke attaches with 2 flexible rotating buckles that allow the yoke to move independently of the vest and allow the dog to run, jump, bite, lift their head without feeling the vest or being inhibited by the vest. These 2 buckles are quick detach pivoting buckles that allow the yoke to be attached or removed in just a couple of seconds. Underneath, same pivoting buckle that is adjustable to allow the yoke height to be set depending on the length of the dog's neck. So I'm going to take the yoke off and I'll explain it separate from the vest. The yoke is set up to cover the upper thoracic cavity of the dog, so everything from the pinch collar down. What we found is that some handlers were running pinch collars and sometimes two E-collars, as well as just a normal handling collar, which gives a lot of things on the neck to try and avoid. The way that we solved that was we created what's called an Elizabethan collar. So the collar is a backward working collar that allows it to be open as it's moving up the dog's neck and allows E-collars, pinch collars, etc. to sit inside of it while still providing ballistic coverage up to the edge of the collars. The rest of the yoke is set up to cover the dog's chest all the way down to the point that his legs pivot, but not inhibit his ability to run, jump, or climb while still covering those areas. The yoke is adjustable on the back of the neck with an elastic adjustment or with a Velcro adjustment that allows it to be set to the width of the dog's neck and allows the collar to be closed up on the back to protect as much of the dog's neck as possible. Moving on to the rest of the features of the vest, obviously yoke attachment point. We have a MOLLE field on each side of the vest that allows patches, camera systems, or any other gear that needs to be attached to the dog to be attached. The vest is adjustable, and it's adjustable in multiple ways. One of the things that we found was that the canine handlers that we talked to were frustrated that their vests were not adjustable. So if the dog, for instance, put on a heavier coat for the winter, their vest frequently wouldn't fit, or it would be too tight and would inhibit the ability of the dog to move. Another piece of feedback that we received was that overlapping ballistics on the side of the dog, for instance, to cover a zipper, would prevent the dog from rotating their body that way. In fact, one of the handlers we talked to said that his dog wouldn't turn right while he was in his vest. So we wanted to make sure that the vest was symmetrical, that it covered both sides of the dog, and that it provided adjustability. The way we did that is with 2 overlapping ballistic panels and 6 adjustment buckles. At the neck, the vest is adjustable not only by buckle, but by Velcro, which allows you to set this so that it sits tightly around the dog's neck, but doesn't inhibit his ability to move. It is then snapped into the buckle. One of the things you'll notice about all of the buckles on the P7K9 is that they're covered by webbing. We did this for a couple of reasons. One, it prevents the buckle from getting hung up. If the dog is moving through brush or is on a bite, it prevents the buckle from getting caught or getting the straps caught. 2, it makes it very difficult to release the buckles without specifically knowing how to do it. So if the dog is on a bite, it makes it difficult for the suspect to release the buckle and take the armor off the dog. 3, by trapping the buckles and Velcroing down the straps, what we've done is eliminate the ability for a suspect to grab the straps of the vest and use the vest against the dog for a leverage point. That's true for all 6 buckles that attach the main compartment of the vest. Second adjustment point are the 2 torso or thoracic buckles. These 2 allow the chest cavity of the vest to move up and down depending on the size of the dog. One of the things that you'll notice that's very unique about the vest is the shape of the ballistic that's covering the chest. This is actually a shaped ballistic. It's not a flat panel that we're wrapping around. We structured this ballistic the way you would an upper arm, a Project 7 upper arm piece, and it allows it to wrap around the dog's chest without having overlap, without having seams, and without trying to take a flat piece of ballistic material and just curve it around the dog. So the structured ballistic sits up underneath the dog's chest, and then the 6 buckles allow you to set the girth of the vest to make sure that it comfortably fits the dog in all 3 locations and doesn't allow the vest to move around or get in the way. The vest can be run as a base configuration. So if you're conducting a long search or conducting search in a hot place or don't need the yoke on the vest, it can be run in this base configuration. But if the dog is moving into a higher threat environment, for instance, is moving under a structure, under a house, or is on a SWAT mission and you know that the dog is going to encounter an armed suspect, you can simply attach the yoke in a matter of seconds to allow it to enhance the coverage of the dog. It's a total of 3 buckles that are required to attach the yoke. You'll notice also that the yoke is adjustable in 2 ways. It has a strap adjustment that allows it to be set for the length of the dog's neck, and has a Velcro adjustment that allows you to set for the diameter of the dog's neck. So the yoke can go on in just seconds, and like I said, the yoke moves independently of the vest, which will allow the dog to move and bite without feeling the yoke. One of the things that we did in the testing is we did a lot of jumping and a lot of bite work, trying to make sure that the yoke wasn't inhibiting the dog's ability to move. A couple additional things that we should talk about. The first is the ballistic protection that we selected for this vest. We did some extensive testing with our partners at Safariland on what ballistics would work best for dogs, knowing that the majority of dogs that are injured are either stabbed or impaled onto a fence or another object. We wanted to make sure that we had good stab protection, but we also realized that the NIJ stab standards produce vests that are too thick and too stiff for a dog to be able to effectively move. The package that we settled on actually was an ultra lightweight level 2 human package that we use for our XPV vests for agencies that want to go into level 2 ballistics. It provides high stab resistance and high spike resistance while also providing level 2 handgun ballistics, but is a lightweight, flexible, and thin package so that the dog isn't in any way inhibited by the ballistics, and it kept the weight of the vest lower. A couple more features worth talking about. All the buckles on the Project 7 vest are plastic. This was an intentional choice to take weight out of the vest. These buckles are strong enough to hoist the dog a short distance. If in fact you are jumping the dog, doing any kind of parachute work with the dog, or fast roping the dog, these buckles can be replaced by Cobra buckles to allow you to have a little bit higher weight rating when moving the dog. One of the questions we receive from several of the units that we deal with that work on the water is, what about buoyancy? The P7K9 in its base configuration is positively buoyant by 5 to 6 pounds. However, if a unit needs positive buoyancy, we have a positive buoyancy option that allows us to increase that positive buoyancy up to 12 or 13 pounds simply by adding foam into the carriers. Finally, let's talk about sizing. P7K9 is available in 3 sizes, medium, large, and extra large, and will fit dogs between 55 and 100 pounds. Because of the adjustability in sizing, it's very easy to fit a number of dogs into the same platform, so if a dog leaves a unit or rotates out, you don't lose the vest. You can usually make it fit one of the other dogs. This project was a passion project for all of us at Project 7. We are all dog owners. We all work with canine units and canines embedded in SWAT, and it has always frustrated us that dogs get killed when they could be properly armored. As a result, we spent a lot of time on this project, and we're extremely happy to produce what we think is the best canine vest on the market.